as they have for centuries, carving this land of standing rock and sandstone cliffs. Today, there is no one who hears the wind. No people who walk this canyon or drink from this stream. But if you listen carefully, you can hear voices. Voices in the wind. Voices from the past. Voices of the desert people. There were many people who called the desert their home. They had many names. Ute, Pima, Navajo, Hopi. But the people who were here before these were called the Anasazi, the ancient ones. These are examples of their rock art. The Anasazi were living in the desert as long ago as 2,000 years. Why they chose to live here we'll probably never know. For while they left behind their pictures, they did not have a written language. Perhaps they were a peaceful people and found safety in the desert, away from other hostile tribes. Early homes of the Anasazi were simple. Some were made of stone slabs stacked one on top of another. Later in their development, the homes became larger. Family joined family, creating communities. The style of their stonework changed from generation to generation, and they now used clay to keep the stones together. Logs were used to support upper stories, and the Anasazi began to build their homes 2 and even 3 stories high. After 1,000 years of steady development, the Anasazi built their largest and finest dwellings, like Pueblo Bonito. It once stood 5 stories high and may have housed as many as 1,000 people. Then, about 800 years ago, the Anasazi began to do something unusual. They began to build their homes high into canyon walls. The ruins of these cliff dwellings can be found throughout the Southwest. They were usually built below massive overhanging rocks. The homes were not only hidden, but were difficult to attack. The Anasazi grew beans, corn, and other crops on the flat mesas that were located directly above their homes. Each day they had to climb steep trails to go to and from their fields. They made fires next to their homes for cooking and warmth during the cold winters. They sharpened their tools and weapons on the sandstone rocks used to make their walls. And here too they made their rock art. The Anasazi made beautiful pottery. They wove baskets from the bark of trees. From the bones of animals, they made needles and awls. And from flint and other rock, they chipped weapons that were not only functional, but also beautiful. Who were the Anasazi? Where did they come from? How did they get here? While many Native Americans explain their origin in a different way, most anthropologists believe the following. About 30,000 years ago, North America looked much like it does today. A narrow stretch of ocean separated Asia from this continent. There were no people living here. Then, ice began to advance across the northern hemisphere. As it did, sea levels dropped, exposing a land bridge connecting Asia with North America. Large game animals like bison and mammoth crossed this land bridge, entering the new continent, soon followed by Asian hunters. There were probably several migrations over thousands of years, and eventually the people spread throughout North and South America before the ice retreated and the land bridge became covered by water again. There were hundreds of tribes, but each can be classified into one of several groups according to the natural environment in which they lived. The names of the groups are the Eastern Woodlands, the Plains, the Southwest, the Great Basin, the Plateau, California, and the Northwest Coast. Each of these groups lived in an environment that was unlike the others. None of the others lived in an environment quite like this one, the Southwest, the land of the desert people. This region is dry and rugged. There is little vegetation. How was it that people could live here? What were their lives like? For the answers, we need only listen to the wind that has blown for centuries.
I am Akina. This is my father, Tokama. We have been hunting most of the afternoon, and even though my father is the best hunter in our clan, we have not been very lucky. The rains have not come in many passings of the moon. The creeks are nearly dry, and my father says that there are fewer rabbits because of it.
Chora tantata, hanka bisani, anji sinyani ya ramama. Oh, askichorata machachila.
Niata ho. It is only a very small rabbit. It won't feed many mouths, but still our people will be pleased. While we have been hunting, my mother has been back at our village, preparing for our dinner. First, she starts a fire by spinning a stick on a piece of wood. The spinning causes the wood to heat up. Shiva, my little sister, watches very carefully. In a few years, she will have to know how to start a fire herself. Soon, the wood gets hot enough to make dry grass smolder. My mother then blows on this until flames appear. At just the right moment, she takes a dry yucca leaf to pass the flame to some twigs and sticks. She adds to this until there is a real fire. Corn is eaten at practically every meal. We grow it ourselves. The kernels first must be ground. They are then formed into patties. Even Shiva helps out by making a patty or two. This is what they look like after they've been cooked on a hot rock. Cornbread. With a little bit of honey, they taste very good. We grow several different types of corn, beans, and other crops as well. And we also pick wild grain, nuts, and berries. While my mother cooks, my father will make more tools. Many of our knives, axes, and arrowheads are made the same way, from flint, chert, and other rocks found in our area. My father has broken a piece of flint off of a larger piece. He uses a hammerstone to chip away at the flint. He must be careful. If he hits the flint too hard or in the wrong place, it will shatter. Gradually, the flint is worked into the desired shape. This breaks off even smaller pieces of the flint, and the edges of the tool become very sharp. In just a short time, my father has made a knife. It is very sharp and is used for cutting, scraping, and chopping. My father can make many tools, axes, cutters, and scrapers of many types, and of course, arrowheads. Sometimes we put handles on our tools. This makes them easier to use and more effective. We eat 2 meals each day, and we always eat outdoors, unless it is raining. We're very hungry, as it has been a long time since we had our first meal. There is little talk at our meals. We are too hungry. After dinner, we might tell stories, or better still, play a game of hidden stone. The object of the game is to guess under which cone a turquoise stone is hidden. The sooner you find the turquoise, the more points you score. The next day is one of great excitement. My father and my uncle have been chosen by our clan to travel far to the south to trade with people of another tribe. For the first time, my father has agreed to take me with him, even though our journey might be dangerous. We will see places I have only heard about. The Great Stone Bridge, the Woman of Stone and her bashful daughter, and Balancing Rock. This will be a great adventure. While we are gone, my mother and sister will have plenty to do. This will be a good time for them to make some new pottery from clay found in our area. My mother begins by working clay with her hands, making sure there are no air bubbles inside. Next, she places a piece in the bottom of a bowl and spreads it out evenly. When the inside of the bowl is covered, my mother places a coil around the edge and smooths this out. She keeps adding coils and smoothing until the pot reaches the desired shape. After drying in the sun, the pot changes to a lighter color and it is placed in the fire where it is covered with another pot. Wood is stacked around this. After several hours in the fire, the pot becomes very hard and waterproof. After firing, the pot is decorated. Practically all of our pottery is painted the same color, black on white. Another job that always needs being done is sewing. My mother is adding a rabbit fur to a blanket. As always, Shiva is right by her side. The needle my mother uses is carved from the bone of a deer, another animal we hunt in our area. We use rabbit furs for our blankets, robes, and clothing. We also use deerskin, but rabbit fur is much softer, and it is Shiva's favorite. My father and I have come to the place where we meet the traders from the other tribe. My father has met them before, and they have become friends. One of the traders, Loho, has brought a strange green bird. It is said to come from a faraway land. The bird is very friendly and quite smart. With just a little help from Loho, it will lie on its back and roll over. The traders have other things I have never seen. A beautiful shell that comes from a great body of water far to the west. And red coral, which can be made into beautiful jewelry. My father examines a large block of black glass. It is found only in special areas. Many excellent tools can be made from a piece this large. My father wants to trade deer antlers he has brought for the black glass, but Loho doesn't seem interested. He says the glass is worth much more than the antlers. My father doesn't agree, and the two dicker back and forth. Until finally, Loho gives in. Later that day, Loho performs a blessing. Burning sage is passed among the traders to protect them on their return trip. Sage grows just about everywhere in the desert and is known to have special powers. We are all happy to take part in this blessing, for there are many evil spirits in the world who live in the forbidden land. They have great powers and can bring evil to the Anasazi, sickness, drought, death. Just as there are evil spirits, there are good spirits too. It is a spirit who is responsible for the rains that bring needed water to the desert. It is a spirit who is responsible for the wind which spreads the seeds of the desert plants. If our people lead good lives, respecting nature in all its creatures, we will be permitted to live with the good spirits after we die. It had been 2 days since we left the traders, and we were passing through the land of the hostiles, a fierce, war-loving people. We hoped we wouldn't see any.